welcome back to Marshmallow Reads. I'm Marcy, and today I'm going to tell you all about the things I read in March. So I only managed to fit in 5 books this month, but each of them was a winner. Like, this is probably one of the best reading months I've had in a while. Let's get right into it. The first book I read in March was Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. What a monumental work. Like, just took my breath away. This story is about 2 half-sisters unknown to each other and how drastically different their lives diverge. While one of the sisters, Afia, is married off to one of the Englishmen that lives in the Cape Coast castle, her sister Essie, who she doesn't know about, is being held captive in the ship-filled dungeons beneath the castle. And she, along with many other women, men, children, are getting ready to be shipped off to North America to be sold off into slavery. The rest of the book follows each of their descendants through history, and it's rough for reasons. Afia's descendants in Ghana, for the most part, they see centuries of warfare surrounding the slave trade and just general English colonization. Essie's descendants live through southern plantations, the Civil War, and the Great Migration. They each have their own struggles. You know, it's bad, obviously. Yaa Gyasi could have very easily made this into an endlessly tearful and heartbreaking slog through the centuries of oppressive racism. But thankfully, for my poor heart, this book was not that. She did not shy away from the dark histories that these people faced, but it wasn't there to solely give you emotional trauma. I felt that it gave you a glimpse of the struggles and the tough decisions these people would have had to face, while not like hitting you over the head with it. There comes a point in one of the more modern storylines where it really hit me. We can talk all we like about how slavery is in the past and, you know, it's over. But we, non-Black Americans, cannot truly understand what it is like to live in a country where our ancestors were ripped from their homeland and treated like beasts of burden and worse for generations. And then to be expected to just get over it and move on? Of the many points this book had, it made clear that racism and the undervaluing of Black lives did not end with the ratification of the 13th Amendment. Like, yes, there was a clear divide between slavery and after slavery, but it's not like the people involved just flipped the switch, you know? It took and is taking so much effort to truly, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Like, it's not as simple as making owning another person illegal to make everyone equal. Systemic racism is a thing, and it's still going on today. Through this book, Yaa Gyasi really helped me visualize living through these times and imagining what it would be like to gain freedom, yet still have 0 safety nets, 0 generational wealth, and still be viewed as inferior in every facet of life. Fuck. Like, that's heavy. That's a lot to be burdened with, you know? So yeah, I absolutely loved this book. It was a 100% 5 out of 5 stars for me. I kind of can't believe this is her first novel. Like, wow. If you can, please check this one out. Like, I highly recommend the audiobook. So it's narrated by Dominic Hoffman, and he does such a good job bringing each character to life. And it was really helpful to hear him say names of people and places and just words that I probably would have butchered if I tried saying them myself. So yeah, fantastic read, a very good start to March. Next up, I listened to this one on audiobook, The Dragon Behind the Glass, A True Story of Power, Obsession, and the World's Most Coveted Fish by Emily Voigt. Yeah, this was fun. I did go back into Animal Crossing New Horizons for the first time since like Christmas just to get this photo. I think it was worth it. But this whole book is centered around this fish, the arowana. It's a fancy fish. and more. So this is a nonfiction story, and in this, real life thing, a journalist starts off trying to find this wild Asian arowana and then gets caught up in this massive journey all across the globe, meeting eccentric hobbyists, wealthy collectors, and pet detectives. And it brought up some questions like, what drives us to have pets? What about exotic pets? When does a hobby become an obsession? It also goes into the world of protecting vulnerable and endangered species. Like, sometimes allowing vulnerable species to become pets encourages the conservation of that animal's natural habitat. Not so much the case for the arowana. Since it can be successfully bred in captivity, very little attention is actually paid to the wild fish. In cases like the arowana, adding a species to a vulnerable or endangered list makes it a bigger target for exploitation. So it basically tags it as this super rare and super chic animal to have for collectors. Some examples include tigers, a la Tiger King, lemurs, Burmese python, and the majestic New Zealand kakapo. There are days where I think to myself, can I drop everything and move to New Zealand and spend the rest of my life devoted to the preservation of the kakapo? I asked my husband and he said no. A girl can dream. One of the points this book makes is that the best way to protect these animals that are at risk of extinction is to do holistic conservation. So preserving the entire ecosystem in which they live, and every other animal and insect that lives there as well. So I don't really see a world in which we can both have holistic conservation and full-fledged capitalism. Exhibit A, unsustainable cattle ranching in the Amazon rainforest has led to deforestation and the destruction of the natural habitat that is home to 2,633 endangered species. Yeah, we can claim, as a race, all we want that, oh yes, we're so interested in protecting the environment and protecting these cute, cuddly animals, but unless there's money behind it and actual laws and regulations, it's not gonna happen. Their, security is always going to be second to profit. And that's an issue. So yeah, I thought this was an interesting and thought-provoking read. Check it out if you think it sounds like it's up your alley. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. So excited for this next one. The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. I adore the Wayfarers series, and this is the 4th installment, and it actually isn't published yet, officially. This is my first NetGalley advanced review book, and I was super excited to be accepted to review it, and here is that review. As usual with her books, I really like the world building that she does. It takes place on the planet of Gora in the Tren star system. So Gora is a sort of rest stop world. There's no indigenous life forms here, but it is inhabited by a variety of different alien species. And they live here on their own, and they have their own little bubbles, mini villages. And because this planet is located near a wormhole, travelers use it to get from this part of the galaxy to other parts of the galaxy, kind of like an airport hub. and the travelers have to sign up for their transport times so that there aren't any collisions within the wormhole. Which leads to somewhat lengthy layovers, anywhere from a few hours to a few days. So these travelers will stay at these rest stops, these like sort of bed and breakfast things that are hosted by the Gora inhabitants. And this specific story takes place at one of these layover hotels hosted by a derpy llama alien and her child. These alien descriptions are going to be dumb on purpose. I actually love the character designs for these aliens, and I think they are so unique and so full of life, but this is just how I'm going to describe them because it's kind of easiest for me. On this day, they have 3 visiting ships. A silvery fish-like alien that speaks in colors, but she also has a voice box implant so that she can converse with other species. A fancy blue lobster man who works as a virtual reality sim designer. And a pair of small bird sloth sisters who use mechs to walk around the alien world. It feels like a normal day until the sky starts falling. Cue Chicken Little.
Run for your lives! Everyone run for cover! The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
Something went wrong with the satellite systems and the satellite trajectories, and they start crashing into each other. And this causes a massive planet-wide disruption to communication. They are able to get onto like the emergency channel to hear like those announcements, but they can't really contact anyone off planet or even like between the habitat domes on planet. And we spend the rest of the story getting to know these characters more and seeing just how different and similar they are to each other. It's very wholesome, very on brand. So you might need to go onto the Wayfarer wiki to refresh your memory about some of these aliens. I certainly did, but that wasn't a big deal for me. I liked the bit about how the bird sloth sisters and their species as a whole have never gotten to try a VR simulator because no one has made a VR like mind map for their species yet. And without a mind map, you can't create a sim. Part of the reason why that is their species are outsiders everywhere they go. Due to some imperialism related reasons, and you know, the book gets into it, and I did enjoy that. But yeah, there's not many of them in the galaxy as a whole. They don't actually have a home world anymore because it was ravaged for resources. Yeah, but back to the sim thing, I think that it highlights the importance of accessibility in video games, something that, you know, we can relate to in this current reality. And it's not just because, you know, proportionally, there's not a lot of people who would benefit from these accessibility options in video games, but it doesn't mean it's not absolutely worthwhile to put that work in and put them in. I always appreciate when games do that. There were parts of this book where I felt the wholesomeness was being laid on a bit thick, but it did feel like a nice thick blanket. So yes, it was cheesy, but I didn't feel like it was like over the top. So yeah, I really did enjoy this one. Not quite my favorites of the series. I think I liked books 1 and 2 a bit more, but I did give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. If you're caught up in the series, or even if you're not, look out for this one when it comes out. Yeah, I think it's April 20th, so this month. Next, we have Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. So this is kind of like a YA mystery, more thriller-y novel. And it was a bit of a rough read due to its subject matter. So it follows a 15, 16-year-old Black girl who, at the age of 9, was sent to prison for the murder of a 3-month-old infant, allegedly. If that sounds too much for you, I would maybe recommend skipping this one. But if you think you can handle that, then I I would recommend reading it. After spending 6 years in baby jail, being treated not quite like an adult, but definitely not being treated like the child that she was, Mary is now living in a group home in New York City for troubled girls. Oh man, there is so much going on in this girl's life. Due to her being an alleged baby murderer, the other girls in the home and her caretakers in that home treat her like garbage. They beat her, steal her things, destroy her things, and overall make every moment in that house absolute hell. And she does still have her mother, but she's no comfort either. She does routinely visit Mary in the home, but she is a deeply religious woman and has mostly given up on Mary because of the whole alleged baby killing thing. Plus, the mother, she has her own mental illnesses that she doesn't really do the best job at dealing with, and even before the baby's death, was not necessarily the best mom to Mary. And Mary is also put to work at a nursing home where she meets her boyfriend Ted, an older teen who lives at a group home for boys. And now she's pregnant and the state wants to take away her baby because, well, she's a baby killer. Allegedly. In an effort to keep her baby, Mary starts to study really, really hard for the SATs, thinking, with the plan to get into college, get her degree, get a job, and provide for herself and her baby. She also finds herself a lawyer to help prove that she is innocent. She has some knowledge, something that she'd never told anyone back when she was 9, and she wants to prove to the world that she didn't do it. Oh, like I said, I kind of struggled through this one. I did have to take a few breaks in between reading sessions to read happier things, but ultimately I did enjoy the ride. So I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. So check it out if it sounds like something you're into. Ha-ha! Started with a 5, ending with a 5. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes was a surprise favorite of mine. Whoo, baby. Yeah, I really ended this month on a high note. Imagine if Knives Out was a YA novel. That's pretty much it, but it does it so well. So we have Avery Grams, who is a high school girl who out of nowhere inherits a nonsensically large amount of money from this random old white dude that she never met. She also finds out that this old dude basically left his family nothing. So he had $46 billion or something dumb and left his family members around 100,000 each, which to me sounds massively life-changing, but to them is a pittance. And now everyone, including Avery, is trying to figure out okay, why the hell did he leave this young girl a $46 billion inheritance? She's just a random high schooler. Oh, did I mention that this has a reverse harem? Yep, we got some cute and quirky rich boys for Avery to deal with. So first we have the youngest, Xander. He is max quirky and loves scones. Then there's Jameson. He is very charming and loves being shirtless. Grayson, he is a little bit older, he's more reserved, and he was set to be the heir apparent and is quite unhappy that Avery got the fortune instead. And then we have the oldest, Nash. He is a southern gentleman who wants nothing to do with this mess. He's there to be cute and charming in cowboy boots. So in order for Avery to actually access this inheritance, for realsies, she must do but one simple thing: live at the Hawthorne house for an entire year. And sounds like a classic Scooby-Doo inheritance trope, and I loved it. At first, getting to spend a year living in this massive estate with countless rooms, like 3 libraries, and a bowling alley, a massage parlor, so many chefs. Like, yeah, that sounds like peak wish fulfillment. Sign me up. But then you remember that there's like a whole disinherited family who also lives there that probably wants to kill you. A bit of a bummer. So there's this mystery to solve. Like, why did Granddaddy Hawthorne pick Avery as his heir? And it turns out he left secret clues that will lead Avery and the brothers on a hunt for the truth all over the house, and like all over the grounds, and involving coded messages and forbidden lovers and secret rooms. Oh, it's so fun. Like, every minute of reading this was so fun. And it was like also kind of satisfying because the chapters were like super short. So if you wanted to pause, you had so many places to pause. Oh, yeah, I loved this book. It gave me some serious Nancy Drew vibes with like all the secret passageways and the puzzles. Oh, so good. And all of the characters, especially like the 4 brothers, were so fun and vivid. Like, I cannot wait for the sequel. I think it comes out like in September of this year. Oh, so yeah, in the meantime, if you have not picked this one up yet, please do. Easy 5 out of 5 stars. Like, yes, it's cheesy. It's a wee bit predictable, but like, so fun. All right, that was pretty quick for this month. Hopefully I can get a few more books in next month, but like, whatever. I really enjoyed all the books I read this month. Very satisfying. I'm very happy. I do hope to finish Babylon's Ashes, the 6th Expanse book, for next month. That'd be great, so I can get on to reading other physical books that I have, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm enjoying the journey. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please do something nice for yourself when you get the chance. We all can use that every once in a while, you know. So school's picking up, life is picking up, so I'm going to move my posting schedule to a bi-monthly sort of thing. So I'm gonna have at least 2 videos go up per month. One is gonna be my monthly wrap-up video like this one, and then the other one is gonna be whatever I feel like. But just so you know, upload schedule is gonna be a little bit more spaced out. It's just gonna be way better for my schedule. Okay, I will see you all in 2 weeks. Until then, bye!